All right, back in the basement again today to talk about this. This is the Williams Strength Signature Leg Curl Leg Extension. You can also flip-flop the names with EliteFTS because Williams Strength is the manufacturer behind it. They're going to be identical in terms of what you get because it's coming from the same facility. Now, initially, when I looked at this, which was well over 2 years ago now, I initially went through EliteFTS because I like Dave Tate, I like what they do. But because I wanted to get something customized, and as I started to talk to them, they were more of a middleman between myself and Williams Strength. I thought it might make sense to just go right through Williams Strength. And I think I'm glad I did because I ended up saving a little bit of money at the time when I bought this compared to what prices are these days. Now, if you don't want to go the super bougie route like I did with getting these laser cut logos and even getting some laser cut stuff on the feet of these, which I'll show you in some B-roll, you can probably pick or choose who you want to go through. It just depends on who you want to support. The pricing is going to be pretty much identical. Regardless of who you pick, you do get some basic choices when you get this, like frame color and pad color as well, in addition to the type of pad. So not only is this just the black pad, but it's the black sticky pad, which is really, really sticky. And again, I've owned this for 2 years, so I just want to give you some real world updates on how it's been here, living and breathing in the basement with this massive unit. Because as if you haven't been able to tell already, this thing is big. I'm standing on my deadlift platform, so it's very long, almost the same length as a deadlift platform. It's also quite high. I'm elevated right now, so to the top of this pad, it's about 30 inches, and it's pretty wide. It's got a wide seat for y'all big butt people out there. Well, that's a good thing or a bad thing in the fitness space these days, but you do you. But it is a big, massive, expensive unit. So just my goal today is just to talk about what I found since having it for about 2 years now. Now, first, let's talk about, again, some of the customization on here. So I went with the laser cut logos on this, which I think came out really, really nice. And in fact, talking with the Williams Strength team, who's done a couple of pieces for me now here in the basement, initially, we had a little bit more of some grander goals in mind with chains and whatnot on here. So the initial chains here, which are just laser cut in, we talked about actually welding on some real chains. The problem is I don't think mock-ups did it justice, and the mock-ups looked a little bit funky to me. So we decided to just go this route instead. But I think it came out really, really nice. This is actually a couple of different layers. And again, I'll try to get you some B-roll. You're getting some natural sunlight in the basement, which doesn't happen all the time. But it came out really, really well. My logo is more of an intricate one, and they were able to do it at not much of a markup to the normal fee, which I'm very appreciative of. Now, if you want to still go the bougie route, just beyond just picking your colors of your frame and your pad, they have a couple of different options. You can do one of their normal logos. So EliteFTS has a laser cut logo that I think comes standard on these, which looks really, really nice if you just really like that design. And again, you want to support EliteFTS, that's one way to go. Williams Strength also has just like a regular logo they put on here. I'm not sure if it's laser cut, it might just be vinyl. But if you go the custom route, you have two options. You can go a vinyl logo decal on here, which they will help you with. I think it's like a $200 upcharge. Or you can go the laser cut route, which is a couple $100 more than that. Now, with this too, you might be able to request just a blank canvas and go and source your own vinyl if you always wanted to, or maybe even just change this out as these two black pieces, which is the same on the other side, are bolt-on. So you might have some options that way if you know someone who can do some custom laser work for you. Or you might be able to request that it's not there. I haven't seen any signature ones without this. That's why you're paying the extra money to go to the signature line. But overall, really happy with how this turns out and how it looked. I mentioned already on each of the foot plates here, you have bar don't lie cut in. This is something that they wanted to experiment with, what they hadn't done before. I think it came out really nice. The downside is, as you'll see in some of this B-roll, is the fact that because it's cut out and because the frame is white, you can see inside of it. The powder coating on the inside isn't the best because again, it's hard to really get in there and spray it and coat it and bake it in. But also when you get some of the stuff that flakes, which I'll talk about in maybe just a second, it gets there in the cracks and it's really no way to really get it out unless you were to turn this thing upside down or something like that. Maybe some compressed air would work. Not a big deal to me, but just note that it is there. So that's the customization that I went on here. Let's talk about some other things that I really like about this bench. Number one, the band pegs. So you see band pegs, there's 3 of them here. They go through in my pocket. I do have a band, and what you can do here is set up the band so that you have some resistance when you're actually doing things. The reason why this is important is oftentimes with some of these plate loaded designs, depending on where the arm is swinging, you could potentially kind of change how much weight is on here. Let's see if I can give you an example. So as you get to a certain point here where the weight comes up, obviously you have gravity and the weight's going to start going this way. So it might not be a consistent weight the whole way. By adding a band here, you get more tension on it and even more at the top, which makes it more difficult, which I really like, regardless if you're doing leg curls or leg extension. Now, while this to me was a selling point and one of the reasons I wanted to get this bench particularly, to be honest, I don't think it's a be all end all. Like if you wanted to save a ton of money and just go like a basic extension route, obviously it's going to depend on the leverages of your machine that you're picking, but like this particular machine without the band pegs, I still think is super usable. A downside of using band pegs for me, one of which is completely stupid, is that the bands just don't match. Like these are orange bands from Rogue. If you get EliteFTS ones, I think theirs are orange for this size band as well. Even if you go to one of the other bigger bands, they're blue or red or green, and it just doesn't match. Again, it's stupid, but it's just there. The big downside, though, however, is this thing chews up bands. And again, I'll show you some B-roll, but you can see this one is fraying. This is the second band that's been on here in the 2 years that I've owned it, so it's already eaten through one. So I made the good comment, which is something that I've thought about, but just haven't really taken the time to do, is perhaps putting something on this band peg around where it's not just the metal on the rubber, so that way things move a little bit better. Because what happens is when you're actually in use with this, as I show you, and you stretch here and go out, there's a lot of stress on that band, right? And the heavier the weight is, the more you do this time and time again, it just starts to chew through those bands faster than if you were using these bands without that kind of point on there. So just be aware that you will go through more bands than normal. But again, in the 2 years that I've owned this, this is the second band I've gone through, and the bands are like, I want to say like 20 bucks for a pair or something like that. So it's not tremendously awful in that regard. Now, as I'm sitting here, I might as well talk about actually using it. There are a couple of adjustment points on here. Number one, for the lying leg curl right here. For the leg extension, there's also an adjustment right here, so you can move this pad up or down. My wife and I both use this. She just uses the settings where I use them, which is nice for me because I never have to adjust them. Obviously, I'm taller than her. I'm 6'3". She's 5'8"-ish. Everyone seems shorter to me at 6'3", unless you're taller than 6'3", and then you're not shorter than me. But perfect extension for me. My knees line right up with this joint right here. Some people don't like this kind of design. They find like they get knee pain doing leg extensions. I think if you sit in the right spot, having the joint here, it's fine. I've never had any issues with that. It has handles here, so you can really hold yourself in. And again, whether you're doing 2 legs or if you're doing 1 leg extensions, I really like this. Now, again, in general, this machine has been great in terms of it's adding something into my lower body days that without this machine would be difficult to do. So like in my programming now, when I look at doing quad work, it's stuff that I just don't feel I want to do. You know, it's a pain in the ass where I have to go really heavy or set up something funky or do a ton of reps to feel it in my quads. Or maybe it's just like a squatting movement when I've already squatted and I don't want to do more squats. I want something quick and easy, efficient. This has been really a lifesaver in that regard because you just throw weight on here and you just go and you get a really good leg pump again, regardless if you're doing 2 legs or 1 leg at a time. The nice thing is too, is you can just flip around and do lying leg curls. Now for this, as you'll see, this one for me is a little bit more of a pain in the ass to get on because you have to basically swing your legs around, straddle this. You got to watch out for the plates, kind of brace yourself, get up here, get in good position. Again, there is a grip plate here. There's also another point of adjustability right here. If you want to get this declined like I have it, you can have it straight up as well. Mine right now is just declined, just where it is, no particular reason. And then you can just do a leg curl as well. And again, dismounting this thing is a little bit difficult. Push myself up, watch out for this, swing my leg around, and we're back in spots. So in terms of functionality and usability, this thing is really high. Again, the downsides for me is just the size of it is so big, and getting on and off is a little bit annoying. And of course the price point now, which for me, after 2 years of use and ownership, like I don't think about how much things cost, but all in together for me, delivered to my house was just about $2,000. I think if you're gonna go about it these days, that price is gonna be up to like $2,300 or $2,400. I did a quick price check really quick. Obviously that's gonna depend on how custom you get this, where you live. William Strength ships out of South Carolina. So South Carolina, Rhode Island for me for shipping. At the time at which I shipped this was like $280, which I think is a pretty good deal considering again how big and heavy this is, and it comes on a big pallet wrapped, all put together and stuff like that for you. The price though, however, is a big consideration for a lot of people. Now for me, the price on this was doable because I was looking at a selectorized unit from Sorinex, which had a very small footprint. It was a completely seated unit, but it was still a leg curl and leg extension. The price point initially, I think, was around the same, like maybe $2,500 or something like that. So it wasn't tremendously more, but shipping alone was an extra $1,000 on top of that $2,500 or whatever it was, where at the time it just didn't make sense. In fact, I think it might even be more expensive than that. I'll try to look back and maybe show a picture of a quote that I have if I still have it, but it was almost twice the cost of this particular unit, albeit in a much smaller footprint, which I would have appreciated, but it would also have shipped fully assembled, which for me, having a weight stack and a unit like that, I need help getting it down in the basement. This one, I did need help still, but it's heavy. It's not tremendously heavy. And the nice thing is too, is like right now, to get it into this position, I just have it on some sliders that you would use to like move furniture. And you guys might've seen this in one of the shorts that I've done earlier, but like I have a slider, so 4 in total, 1 under each foot. Like this thing is really easy to move around if you need to, meaning that like if you don't have a ton of gym space, first of all, I probably wouldn't look at this because again, huge unit, but if you want to tuck it in the corner where it might not be the most usable at the time and just keep the sliders under it, which I don't keep these under it at all times, just did it for this video. So it's not crammed into its normal spot, which you've probably seen in videos, but I'll show you B-rolls of where it normally lives. But you could just pull out that big unit, use it when you want it, and then tuck it back in the corner. So it could be very usable that way as well. Now, one of the things I don't like about this in particular, and again, I'll show you B-roll to add on to it, is even though this is a really nice, sturdy, well-built piece of equipment, there are some things that are annoying, and that's namely to do with this extension arm. So they have this textured black powder coat, which again looks pretty nice. And luckily, as I already mentioned, we don't adjust these a lot, but it adjusts just via like a screw pin, which is going to kind of like dig into this, and it's metal on metal here. So if you slide this up and down, and you can see in the B-roll that I'm hopefully showing right now, you can see where it's already rubbed, and that's only from like one singular use. Same thing like this. So if this is living in a commercial space, if this is living in your gym where multiple people are adjusting it all the time, just expect these pieces to not hold up very well. You can kind of get a good idea from the plate horn where the weights live, because again, that's just a powder coated piece of unit. Obviously it's all scratched and banged up and dinged to hell, which is bound to happen. So just take that into consideration, that this thing will not look pretty with use. But if you have that expectation going in, you can better prepare yourself for that. The only other thing I really want to talk about, I think, with this is one of the things that I've changed is on the very bottom here on this cross member, I actually have added some foam padding. That way, in my first video that I made on this 2 years ago, I was showing how you can do like seal rows or chest supported rows on this. You have room, you lift this up, you can use like a bow bar, what else? Kind of got to work with a little bit due to where the actual plate is down there sticking up. But you can do this seal rows on here. And I just like to have that foam there. So pulling all the way up, if you happen to hit that cross member, it is padded. Now, last but not least, just general usability. So I've had this for 2 years. I find I use it maybe twice a week. So I don't actually use it as much as I thought I would. Typically what I do is I have like 1 quad or 2 quad movements per week that I add in. So I'll always do like leg extensions if I can, just because number one, I like them. They're easy to set up. They're quick to do. They're easy to superset. And I want to make sure that I'm using this piece that I spent $2 grand on. And then I have some posterior chain stuff, which I will add in maybe some lying leg curls instead. So I use the leg extensions a lot more than I use the leg curls. And again, usually I'll do that like leg extensions on my first lower body day of the week, and then maybe hamstring curls on my second lower body day. So really only twice a week for me, which when I think about the cost, the size, the space, I'm not 100% sure that is worth it. So maybe I should have spent more money initially and got a more compact one from Sorinex, which would take up less space. And that way I could still have other room for other stuff and it wouldn't feel so crammed in and just be a little bit nicer in some regard, but it would have cost a lot more money. I would have had to disassemble it before bringing it down. So there's other headaches in that realm. You could probably go a cheaper route as well. Again, the trade-offs are probably going to be the build quality is not going to be as good because, like, for example, the bench material on here on the pad, as I mentioned, it's the sticky material. It is better than like competition bench. Actually, I should say it is competition bench. So if you've ever benched on a really good sticky pad, like a Thompson Fat Pad or any really competition style bench, this is the material they use. The downside of it for me in that regard, I would say that, however, is I don't think I'm fooling anyone saying that I'm white, especially here in the Northeast in the winter. I'm gonna get pale, my skin's gonna get dry, my skin's gonna get ashy. This thing loves some ashy white man skin. So, you know, around here on the padding, it really shows. So I will wipe it down pretty much after every other use in that regard. And I don't know if I would have gone to a cheaper option, you know, one without band pegs, one without the customization. You know, there are other brands that sell cheap versions where they're doable. So if you're just looking for something to do like leg curls and leg extensions, you might be better off. In fact, I would say you're better off going the cheaper route because the trade-offs, at least for the amount of use that I have, and you might have as well, are probably gonna be worth it. Now, if you want something really nice, you want something really custom, highly recommend this. Just make sure you have the space and you're aware, again, that it's going to be expensive to get there. This thing's gonna get beat up. It's gonna eat through some bands over time, but I really like it overall, and I would recommend it if you're considering this. Don't watch this video and before going in, you didn't think you needed a leg curl. I hope you're not leaving this video thinking I need a $2,000 to $2,500 leg curl. You don't. But if you're on the fence about the Williams Strength or EliteFTS signature leg curl, you're thinking about it, you want to know if it's good or not, it's great. But there are some drawbacks. Hopefully this video helps. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions that I can answer about it. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.